back to day 7. I hope that you're feeling great because I sure am. Today we're going to be focusing on the hips and hip movement when we're standing, when we're walking, when we're running, biking, anything. But I want to distinguish first the difference between the pelvis and the hips. So come to a seated position really quick here, and you can sit with your legs crossed. You can also sit up on a block, and I just want you to rock forward and back, and then feel how your pelvis moves. So you can feel your tilting forward, anterior tilt, tilting back, posterior tilt, and we're just rocking here for a moment. So our pelvis is an important part of our posture. So when we're looking at the triple S, skull, scapula, and sacrum, you can feel your pelvis moving. And then come up to kind of a neutral position here, and you'll feel it. So both sits bones will be down, and then when you sit up tall, you'll feel your ribs kind of pull back, and you'll be really upright. So this is pelvis movement. Let's lay down. And we'll just start with the right leg long, and we'll just pull the left knee in and out. So you can keep your hands at your ilium, or what a lot of people refer to as your hip bones. And as you're pulling the knee in and out, this is flexion. So we're moving at the hip. You shouldn't feel any movement here in your low back. So pelvis movement versus hip movement. You could also just pelvic movement here, kind of tilting your spine here, versus pulling your leg in and out. So pelvic movement, hip movement. We're going to work with our hips. So bend your knee up into a glute stretch here. So bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your low back, and really firm into your glutes. So glutes are on, core is on, spine is still really tall. And then while you're here, we're just going to pick our left leg up and bring it into our chest. And then bring your left leg down and pick your right leg up. Now there shouldn't be any movement here in your glutes or in your low back. Well, actually, there should be a little bit of movement in your glutes, but there should be no movement in your pelvis, and you can move this really quickly or really slowly. If this is too much, you can bring those hips down to the ground as well. So bring your pelvis down, and you'll just pull in and out. And you'll get kind of the same effect here, just a little less of a glute stretch. But we're moving here in a state of flexion, so pulling the leg in, and then extension, putting the leg back down. And we're just moving here for a moment. Awesome, really getting into the hips, getting into the glutes. And then when your left leg is up, you're going to hold. Bring your hips to your ilium here, your hip bones, and then bring your left ankle to your right knee and open your hip. And you'll notice that you kind of want to jump to one side. Keep this neutral here even as we breathe. So now our left leg here is in external rotation. Awesome, put the left leg down. Be careful of your pelvis moving. Pick up the right leg, right ankle to your left knee, both hands at your hip bones, and we're opening through the pelvis here and breathing. Yeah, flex your toes. And then bring your foot down, bring both feet down, bring both hips down, interlace your hands back behind you. A little bit of core here with our hips. Elbows point up towards the sky, nod your chin to your chest, lift up off your shoulder blades, and firm your belly down. So pelvis in neutral, core on, glutes are squeezing together as we curl up. Pull your head back just slightly here. Inhale and lower. Exhale, lift, come up and hold. Pause here, pull the head back as you firm the belly down. Draw your left leg in. You're going to turn your left ankle across your body, so external rotation, and then turn your left knee in and turn your left ankle out, so internal rotation of your hip. Bring the leg back to center, inhale and lower. Exhale, lift, come up and hold. Right leg comes in, so external rotation, open that hip out, and then internal rotation, turn the leg across, pull up. Bring your leg back through center, put your foot down, lower your head down. Exhale, lift, come up and hold. Left leg in, external, internal, neutral, and then lower. You got it. Exhale and lift. Feel your core working here. Right leg, external, internal, foot down, lower down. 2 more, you can do it. Exhale and lift. Pick up your left leg, external, internal, foot down, and release. Exhale and lift. Right leg, external, internal, foot down, and release. This time we'll add on a little bit more here for our last set. Come up and hold, pick up your left leg, and then just move it to external and internal. So it's a very small movement here. Keep the curl. Can you curl up a little bit higher even as you move the hip? And it should start to feel more it should feel more juicy here in that hip joint. It should feel a little bit of lubrication. Put your foot down and lower. Feel your core working. Exhale, lift, come up and hold. Last one here. Right leg comes up, external and internal rotation of the hips. Yeah, feel that movement. Spread your toes really wide. Curl up a little bit higher. Awesome. 3, 2, 1. Foot down, lower down, and inhale. Big breath in. Big breath out. Let's come all the way up and over to a tabletop. So shoulders stack over your wrists, hips over your knees, and you're gonna take your right toes or left toes and bring them back behind you. Keep this lift into your belly here. Draw your shoulder blades back. Try to lift the back of your head. Maybe you have a slight gaze forward as we breathe here. And then float your left legs up. So pelvis stays neutral, and then breathe here for a second. See if you can bend your knee. Maybe you stay like this, or internal and external rotation of that hip. And then if you were to take a glass of water and put it on your back, the water wouldn't spill, it wouldn't tip even as we were here. So you can feel that joint moving. Yeah, you can see my pelvis isn't moving, just my hip is moving. We'll just 3, 2, 1. You're gonna cross the left leg over the right. Maybe you stay like this, or push your butt back, and you'll really feel this in your left glute kind of all the way down that left leg. You can always walk your hands back a little bit more. Keep both knees on the ground even while we're here. Deep breaths. Walk your hands back forward. Let's release the left leg. Reset into your spine, and then take your right toes back behind you. Level out the pelvis, inner thigh is active. We're gonna float the leg, bend the knee, and then open and close your hip. Yeah, keep your belly lifted, keep your head lifted, keep your pelvis neutral as we move through that hip joint. This should feel really good here. Awesome, 3, 2, 1. You're gonna cross the knees and then push your hips back. Maybe walk those hands back. Push into that right glute and breathe. Awesome, come back forward. We'll release this left leg and then tuck your toe, or right leg, tuck your toes under and lift into a down dog. First down dog of the day, bend a little bit into your legs here and feel some movement. We're gonna go right into our sequence today. So I want you to walk your hands back towards your toes, and we're gonna come to that really big happy squat here. So come up to your fingertips and then hinge at your hip. So when we're folded like this and we're surrounding your spine, you're actually folding at your chest. Keep your chest really long and then push your butt back as we're here and breathe. Big breath in, big breath out. If it feels okay, maybe you can bring your hands all the way down, but it's okay to be up on your fingertips here. Bring your hands to your hips, come all the way up to a stand. Slide your right hand to your belly, left hand to your low back, and then shift your weight over into your right leg and pick up your left leg. So hip flexion, bring the left leg forward, pick up the right leg, and then pick it up and pick up your left leg. So pelvis doesn't move here, both toes touch. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Hinge at your hips, sit your butt back, step your right toes back. We'll lower to our right knee. Keep your toes tucked under as we come up for a low lunge. One low lunge here. Awesome. Bring your right hand back to your belly, left hand back to your low back. You're going to lift your right knee, and we're going to turn to open to our goddess. Now you're going to pick up your left heel, turn yourself to the back of the mat, come to a low lunge. So moving at the hips, pelvis stays neutral, come back to your goddess, turn to the front, low lunge. Come forward, goddess, and then lower back. And you can take this nice and slow, or maybe you can start to glide through the hips, and it'll start to feel a little bit more natural as we move. Yeah, and you can feel that movement here. Feeling your hips working, feeling your core working, and breathing. You might start to feel a little bit of burn here in that hip flexor. One more. Come to center, and we'll hold. We're going to straighten our legs out. Walk your feet out just a little bit more. We're going to move right into those side lunges here. Yeah, push your butt back. Hinge at your hip. Spine stays tall even as we move. Breathe. Big breaths. Awesome. Should feel really good on your hips. Maybe you can start to stay a little bit lower as we move here. Awesome. 3, 2, 1. We're going to come to the front and we're going to hold here. So pivot your toes, bring your left hand down, and it's almost like you're going to take a twist here. Or right hand is down. Left hand stays at your hip. You're going to turn your left toes to the left, and you're going to drop to the outside edge of your right foot here. Bring your left hand down, and I want you to start to walk to the center of your knees here and squeeze your legs together. Depending on how your hips feel, you might not be able to get far. Maybe you'll kind of stay here. But as you can see, my toes are pointing away. My spine is still really tall. Then we're going to bend into that right leg, and we're coming to a seated twist. So left leg is on top of your right, and let's just roll our shoulders here for a second. Big breath in. Big breath out. So we're letting our hips settle here in this little bit of a twist. Awesome. Big rolls. And then bring your hands back towards the left. We're going to bring our left toes to point forward here, and we're going to open up to our warrior two. So open up here, and then bring one hand to your hip, one hand to your low back, and push your pubic bone forward. Press into this right leg here, and then bend just a little bit into the left leg. It's not about the bend into the left leg. It's about a neutral pelvis. So you really want to keep yourself upright. Glutes should be burning in this pose. Bring your arms out like a T. Flip your top hand up, inhale, and reverse. Exhale, forearm to thigh side angle. Inhale and reverse. Maybe you take your gaze down. You can relax your shoulder. You should feel your hips here. So left hip is nice and open. One more, reverse. Awesome. Side angle, and we're going to hold. Bring both hands to the ground. Step right back to your down dog. And then bend left and right. So notice, how does your left leg feel different than your right? How does your hip feel? Bend your knees, then push your butt up a little bit higher. Big breath in. Big breath out. Walk your hands back towards your toes again, and then bend your knees a lot. So coming to those fingertips. Draw your shoulder blades back, tuck your chin, and drop your hips. Breathe, big breath in. Big breath out. See if you can sit back just a little bit more. You should feel more opening here in the hips. Bring your hands to your hips. Rise up. Left hand slides to your belly, right hand to your low back. So spine is tall. Neutral pelvis here. And we're just stepping forward. And then stepping forward. So a little bit of a march here. Both toes touch. Inhale, arms reach up. Grow tall. Bend your knees as you push your butt back to hinge at your hips. Step your left toes back. We'll lower to that knee and then come up for one low lunge here. Yeah, pause here for a second. So left hand to your belly, right hand to your low back. We're going to lift the left knee, turn to the left, goddess, and then we'll turn back to the back, low lunge. So again, finding this movement, opening and then coming down. Opening and coming down. And as you can see, it gets a little bit easier as you go. You can move slow or quick. You can see I've done this quite a bit here. But you can feel your pelvis neutral and feel your hips working here. Awesome. One more, forward and then back. And then come to center. You're going to straighten through your legs and then move right into those side lunges. Maybe you can stay low right away. Maybe you bring your fingertips or your hands all the way down to the ground and breathe. Feel that movement here in the hips. Awesome. Oh, my glutes are going to burn today. I'm not sure about you. And then turn to the front. Left hand is going to plant. Take a little bit of a twist here. Right hand to your hip. Turn the right toes to the right. Come to the edge of that left foot. And then walk the hands to center. And then squeeze your inner thighs together. Again, maybe your hands are a little bit more forward. Maybe you can bring them all the way over. But you want to keep the hips lifted, and you should feel this. There's a bend into your front leg. Back leg is straight. You'll bend into that knee. And then lower down to the seated twist. And then let your hips kind of settle here and just roll those shoulders out. Should feel it'll be feeling nice and good by now. Awesome. 3, 2, 1. We'll turn back to the left and then turn your right toes forward and we'll open up for a warrior two. Yeah, so push your pubic bone forward, one hand to the belly, one hand to the low back. Pause for here for a second. Right knee tractions outside of the right toes, and then reverse gaze down, side ankle gaze down. Finding this movement here in your body and in your breath. Awesome. Should feel really good here on the spine, on the glutes. Almost 1 week. We are 1 week in. That's so exciting. Only 2 more weeks to go. You're doing great. 1 more, reverse. Bring the hands down. Slide the foot back. Downward facing dog and breathe. And then wag your hips from side to side for a second. All right, let's lower to our knees. And we'll come to that seated again. So bring your hips over to the right. And we'll bring our left leg over. So right leg is down, left leg is over. And again, maybe you just sit like this, like yesterday. If this is too much, you can always extend that leg out. But we're just really looking for our hips to settle in this pose. And then if it feels okay, walk your bottom foot forward so your shins start to come parallel. And then try to kind of squeeze your knees together. So you can see I have quite a bit of a range of motion here in my hips. You might have one hip up and one hip down, but try to level out through your sits bone so your pelvis is neutral and pause. Big breath just while we're here to feel the settling. You might feel it really intensely in this bottom leg. Awesome. And then let's switch legs. So we'll bring our left leg down, right leg up and over. Again, if you just want to sit like this or extend that left leg out, or you can walk those shins forward, flex your toes, and then let your hips settle a little bit more. And breathe. Should feel nice and yummy. Awesome. Then we're going to come back up, and we're going to release our legs, and we're going to roll down to our back, and we're going to take the same pose here, but we're going to do it in a little bit of a different way. So let's start with the left ankle on the right knee. You can bring your arms out like a cactus or a T, and we'll just hover our legs here for a second in figure 4. If this is too much, you can always keep your feet on the ground here. It all depends about how your hip flexibility is. We're going to pull left to left, right to right, and you'll feel this natural hip engagement, more like a pigeon pose if you've done yoga before versus a figure 4. Deep breaths while we're here. And then we'll slide our left leg over our right. So if you're on the ground here, you're just going to cross your legs, or if you're up here, you're going to cross your legs too. And then maybe you can grab for your shins or for your ankles, and then pull your knees into your chest. And it's almost like you're going to pull your legs in opposite directions. So right leg goes to the right, left, or right leg goes to the left leg goes to the right, and breathe. Yeah, see, I feel this really deeply here in my left glute, and then in my left hip flexor. And then we'll release our legs and we'll switch sides. So right ankle comes to the left knee, stay on the ground, or float the legs up, arms out like a T again, right to right, left to left, flex your toes and feel this engagement in your hips. Awesome, then we'll take the right leg around across the left, maybe legs are on the ground again, or grab for ankles or shins and open your legs here and breathe. Awesome, then we'll release our legs. Bring your feet open wide here and then knock your knees together, and you can bring your hands to your hips. So I think we did this on the first day, and you'll really feel the back of your neck long and all the way from the back of your head all the way down through your tailbone. You'll feel this kind of relaxing component. See if you can deepen your breath and then feel yourself settle into your body and into your practice. Letting everything relax. If you want to pause the video and take some more time here, you're more than welcome to. Start to wiggle our toes and our fingers. Bring your arms kind of out open here, and then open your knees, and I want you to do it really slowly. Just windshield wiper your legs left and right here for a second. Shaking out your hips, shaking out your low back, and then when you're ready, you can pick a side and roll over. And we'll press ourselves up to a seat. You can feel your hips, how they've kind of relaxed here a little bit more already. We'll bring our hands to our heart and end with one more big breath. Inhale. And exhale. Thank you so much for sharing day 7 with me and sticking this out with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and comment below. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.